Hey, what's good, everybody? I'd like to welcome you all back to a brand new CD update on the Boombox Guru channel. I'm your host, LB. I know it's been a long time since I've done one of these videos, but recently, in the past month or so, I've managed to procure quite a few CDs that I want to show you guys and I want to talk a little bit about. So without further ado, we're going to get into this video with a brand new CD update. And all of these CDs that I'm going to be talking about today are going to be hip-hop. Got some classic reissues and also got some fairly new releases that came out maybe last year or the year before. So stay tuned and let's get into this video. Alright, so the first CD I want to talk about is 3 Feet High and Rising by De La Soul. And this CD, this is actually a reissue that came out last year. So this is 3 Feet High and Rising. This is the CD reissue physical copy that I purchased from Amazon. And you know, De La Soul, one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time. You know, 3 Feet High and Rising is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. A groundbreaking record, a record that is that I consider to be a musical masterpiece. An album that is timeless, that's still relevant to this day, that is still influencing a lot of people, man. But you know, for a long time, De La Soul's music was unavailable. There were some legal issues that were going on with them obtaining the rights to their music and so forth that lasted for quite a few years, man. At least over a decade or so. And they finally was able to obtain that. Although that accomplishment was bittersweet because True Goy the Dove, aka Dave, this gentleman right here, he actually passed away, I believe, a month before all of that rightfully went back to them. So it was bittersweet that everything actually came back. All the music became available again, and he passed away like a month before all that was happening. So Dave didn't actually get a chance to see all of this, but it was great to go to Walmart and see this album on vinyl. It was awesome to see all their catalog be available on DSPs and also to get physical CD copies, man. But yeah, 3 Feet High and Rising, man. I'm really glad to finally have a physical copy in my collection, because this is, you know, if you're a hip hop head or a fan of hip hop, this is just one of those albums that you gotta have in your collection, because it's such a groundbreaking record. I mean, the production, I mean the everything from the subject matter to the style, it was very groundbreaking for hip hop at that time. You know, they were doing something that was quite different than what a lot of artists was doing, because around the time the 3 Feet High and Rising came out, that's when hardcore hip hop, that's when gangster rap was really starting to make a wave, and they were different. You know, they pioneered what most people would call alternative hip hop, or maybe some people would call the backpack era of hip hop, which is a term I don't really like to use a whole lot, but we'll just stick with alternative hip hop. You know, very experimental. You know, lots of great samples utilized, the way they're constructed, you know, almost somewhat of like a psychedelic, very experimental approach to hip hop, man, courtesy of Prince Paul, who produced this whole entire album, man. But you know, there's just so much that I could say about this album, but most of that has already been said. I mean, it's just a classic hip hop album, one of the greatest hip hop albums to ever be released, man. But yeah, De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising, 2023 reissue. Comes in a nice, cool digipack. I would have liked there to have been a little bit more with the liner notes. That's my only critique, man. The liner notes, they were pretty solid, man. But I would have at least liked there to have been a little bit more with the liner notes. But other than that, man, it's got an all new remastered sound and everything. So I'm just really glad to finally own a physical copy of this in my collection. Because for so many years, man, De La Soul's music was unavailable due to the issues they were having with like sample clearances and them as the group obtaining the rights to their music, man. But a big shout out to Posterdus and Maceo, the two surviving members. Much peace to those brothers continuing to keep the De La Soul legacy alive. And rest in peace to True Goy the Dove, aka Dave, man. Rest in peace to that brother, man. You know, I wish, I know most of us wish that he could have been around when all of this officially happened. But what better way than to honor his memory than to see all of De La Soul's music be available for generations to come to learn about this group, because this is a group that definitely needs to have a legacy that continues to be told to generation after generation, man. So a big shout out to those brothers, man. Peace to True Way to Dove. All right, so these next CDs I'm going to show you, they're actually by the same artist. So I'm just gonna lump all three of these CDs in one. So first one, well, actually, let me introduce the artist, man. All three CDs are by Larry June. So first one, Spaceships on the Blade, The Night Shift with Cardo, and The Great Escape with The Alchemist. Yeah, Larry June is an artist that I've been heavily getting into recently, man. You know, he's from the Bay Area, San Francisco, Hunters Point. He's part of that RBL posse lineage. I just think he's one of the best artists to come out of the Bay Area in such a long time. I mean, honestly, I think that as years to come, he's going to be named right up there with E40 and Too Short and so many other greats to come from the Bay Area. But man, I'm really been digging his music. He's putting out he's a hard working dude, man. He's got a vast catalog, and he's put out a lot of great material. So these first two records, Spaceships on the Blade and The Night Shift with Cardo, man, these records they're in that more of a West Coast hip hop style. That's one thing that I really like about Larry June. He's really brought back that Bay Area mob sound, that player style that was really prevalent from like the city he grew up in, San Francisco. He's brought that back. So it's that kind of funky, kind of maybe not necessarily funky, but he's bringing back that Bay Area mobs, that kind of 80s inspired Bay Area mob sound that was very popular in the mid 90s. I'll put it to you that way. It is funky though, now that I think about it, but he's bringing back that sound, although it's an updated version, more for the younger generation. And it's also got like traces of like trap music, because Larry June did spend some time in Atlanta, Georgia. He did spend time in Atlanta, Georgia in his youth. So it's got some of those trap music flavors as well as a lot of cool R&B flavors. So a lot of the music on these two albums right here is very like chilled out music that you can ride to, music that you can kick back to and just chill out to, man. That's the type of vibe that those records have. I really enjoy them. This next release right here, The Great Escape with The Alchemist. This is produced by, all the music is produced by The Alchemist, which, you know, The Alchemist, legendary producer, you know, Dilated Peoples, Mobb Deep, Jadakiss, so many names he's produced for. But yeah, this is a collaboration he did with Al, and I know a lot of people didn't seem to really like this album for some reason when I was reading reviews on it. Some people kind of preferred these two albums right here, Spaceships on the Blade and The Night Shift. But I actually really enjoyed The Great Escape. I thought it was different. You know, it was a different sound. It kind of has, you know, Al, The Alchemist, he's somebody that's been a very huge leader in that new wave of hip hop where the producers are like kind of looping like soul samples and they're just letting the rapper just rap over that loop sample. That's something that Alchemist has really been a pioneer of recently. Or he's been a proponent of it. He's really been at the forefront of that movement, I should say. But that's what this record is, man. It's a lot of kind of soul samples, with kind of a boom bap style to it. A bit of an underground, gritty sort of boom bap style to it. But it really fits Larry June's style. I mean, I think he was really in his zone on this record, man, because he's got that laid back, smooth player style when he raps, and the soul samples that Alchemist used on here, the minimalist boom bap beats and stuff that are integrated on a lot of the songs, they worked out well with Larry June's style. So I really enjoyed this record. But yeah, Larry June, really digging him, man. So glad I finally got the time to really get into his music, man, because he's putting out a lot of dope music. You know, I've enjoyed all three of these albums. He's got so much more music though, but it's just that a lot of his music isn't available physically. So I managed to find the few albums that he has put out that are available in physical formats, especially CD, because most of his stuff is usually either just exclusively streaming or it's like on vinyl. But I managed to find these on CD, which I'm really thankful for. So yeah, Larry June, man, very dope artist coming out of the Bay Area, putting it on for the Bay. So if you haven't listened to Larry June, man, definitely go check him out, because he's got a dope catalog, man. He's got some really good music out there, man. So definitely give him a listen and see what you think about him, man. All right, so next, man. No, I mentioned when I was talking about Larry June, I mentioned about him being a part of the RBO Posse lineage, man. So this next release is actually from the founding member of RBO Posse, Black C. This is his solo album, one of his solo albums called Black Caesar, which came out back in 2021. And I was actually late on this, man. This actually kind of went under my radar when it was initially released. I don't know. I guess I just wasn't paying much attention to what was going on in that at that time, man. But I recently watched the episode of History of the Bay podcast with Dregs One with Black C, and Dregs One mentioned how he thought that this album was one of Black C's best solo records. So I decided to go and check it out, and I gotta agree, this was a really good record. Black C, man, legendary artist from San Francisco. You know, he was the founding member of the great legendary RBO Posse, and he's the only surviving member of RBO Posse. I also did a book review on his autobiography if you want to check that out as well. But yeah, this album, I really enjoyed this record. This was a really good record. Let me tell you something, man. Black C's in his 50s, man, but he is an artist that has proven that hip hop is not just a young man's game anymore. You know, for years people were saying that once you turn 30, you ought to be on your way to retiring and leaving hip hop. But Black C is one of those artists that has proven that that's not the case. That you can do hip hop as long as you still got that fire to do it. And this man being in his 50s and he's still putting out really good music like this. And this isn't like dated music. This isn't somebody that sounds like they're past their prime or anything. This sounds like somebody that still really got some in them to put out real good hip hop music. I mean, you listen to a lot of the songs on this record, I'm telling you, man, he's out rapping a lot of these young dudes out here. That's what's so amazing about this record, man. But I highly enjoyed this album. This is probably one of my top Black C solo albums. I put it right up there with my favorites like The City of Gods and 70s Baby, his other solo records. I put it right up there with them. But real good record. I'm telling you, man, don't sleep on these veterans. Don't sleep on these OGs in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them, they still putting out real dope records, and a lot of them, they doing better than some of these young and up and coming artists that's coming out, man. So I'm still gonna be out there supporting legends in the hip hop game like Black C, because they're producing real good music like this. So if you wondering what's going on with Black C of RBO Posse, man, he's still out there doing his thing, putting out real great music, man. So check out Black Caesar whenever you get the chance. It is on streaming. Go to RBO Posse's website and get you a physical copy as well if you're somebody like me that's into the physical formats as well, man. But this was a real good record. Highly recommended for RBO Posse fans. And once again, you know, sticking with the RBO Posse, sticking alongside the RBO Posse thing, I got another Black C project that came out last year. It came out August of last year. I was a bit late to this one, but you know what they say, better late than never. So one of Black C's most recent albums that he put out in 2023 was this collaboration he did with San Jose rapper Joe Fresco called Ruthless. This came out in August of 2023, man. I gotta tell you, man. Like I said about Black Caesar, man. Black C, man, he's been putting out a lot of good stuff this year. In the past few years, man, he's been putting out a lot of dope music, man. This man has not slowed down one bit. I know he was semi-retired there for a minute, and I think Larry June was somebody that really motivated him to like come back and continue making music. But since he's decided to come out of that semi-retirement, man, he been dropping a lot of great music, man, and this is one of them, man. One of my favorite projects from last year, man. I gotta tell you, this is one of the best hip-hop collabs that I heard in 2023. Man, Black C, Joe Fresco, they really did their thing on here. I wasn't familiar with Joe Fresco prior to this release, but I listened to it on Spotify at work one day, and I listened to it probably maybe 5 or 6 times. I think I listened to this album the whole time I was at work. That's just how good it was. It is, excuse me, but man, they really put it on for the West Coast with this record, man. To me, this album is a celebration and it's a homage to West Coast hip hop from the Bay to LA. Even though both artists are from the Bay Area, Black C being from San Francisco and Joe Fresco being from San Jose, they represented to me, this album represented all the West Coast, man, from LA to the Bay. I mean, there's a lot of in the production. There's a lot of production on here that has that LA G funk influence, and but then of course them two being from the Bay, there's a lot of music that kind of takes it back to that mid '90s mob music style of Bay Area hip hop. But they really did their thing with this record, man. This has been one of my favorite Black Seed projects so far, right there with Black Caesar, '70s Baby, and the City of Gods. I mean, I really enjoyed this, man. I listened to this album so much, man. That's how much I enjoyed it, man. I mean, when I heard the song called Coming Ruthless, as soon as I heard that song, man, that it took me back to the days of first discovering like NWA or 90s Easy E and all DJ Quick, all that good 90s G Funk, all that good 90s mob music coming out of the Bay Area. It just really took me back to when I first really discovered that music and really started my journey and getting into that stuff so much deeper, man. But this is a phenomenal record. Really like it from start to finish. It's just great beats, great rhymes. I mean, this album really puts you in that vibe of the West Coast, man, if you know what I'm saying, man. Being a huge fan of that music, it really puts you in that vibe. It really puts you in that zone. So I highly recommend you all check this out just as much as the Black Caesar album, man, because this record was a banger. So Black Sea, Joey Fresco, Ruthless, phenomenal record. Can't wait for these two to get back together and maybe do another collaboration album, because this one was a banger for sure. Alright, so last but certainly not least on this video, we're going back to the East Coast again, because I know most of this video has been me focused on a lot of West Coast hip-hop, aside from the De La Soul one. But this next album, another great one, another reissue actually. This is The Testament by Cormega. This is the 2024 reissue. I actually pre-ordered this, man. I follow Cormega on IG, and I remember when he was talking about maybe a couple of years ago that he was in the process of like remastering and reissuing this album. So as soon as he announced that it was available for pre-order, I immediately hit the link and pre-ordered this album. I actually kind of forgot about it until it showed up in the mail about a month ago. But yeah, for those of you who know, Cormega, legendary MC from the East Coast, grew up in Queensbridge, the same neighborhood that Nas, Mobb Deep, who else? Tragedy, Gaddafi, basketball legend Ron Artest, Capone and Noriega, the same neighborhood that they represented and that they all came from. Cormega, he's from there. Legendary MC, you know, Nas famously shouted him out on the song One Love. Even before people knew who he was, man, his name Cormega just rang bells. I mean, cause come on, the name Cormega, that's one of the dopest names ever. So even before he was famous, when Nas shouted him out, he was already popular. You know, long story short, you know, he was an original member of the firm. Unfortunately, his place in that group didn't work out at the time due to some issues, but he signed to Def Jam, and he was supposed to put out The Testament back in 1998, but the album ended up getting shelved, and he ended up kind of being held in his contract in limbo for like a couple of years. And then, of course, we all know that Cormega, he finally got out of his contract and went independent, and that's where he really found his success, was being an independent artist. He's considered a legendary artist when it comes to independent music. And after he found, you know, success with his first two releases, The Realness and The True Meaning and so forth, he finally obtained the rights to The Testament, and he initially reissued that album back in 2005, which I also have that version in my collection. I forgot to pull it out for this video, but he recently just remastered and reissued this album, and I gotta say, I really like this reissue a lot better than the one he put out in 2005. I'm thinking that the one that he put out in 2005, he just kind of obtained the masters and he just pressed it up and put that record out the way it was. That's what I'm thinking. But with this version, it's remastered, which it has a better sound quality, and it also has a way doper cover art. I mean, the religious kind of imagery and iconic imagery that it has, it really goes along with the title of the album, The Testament. Like that would have been a dope cover art if it had came out back in 1998. I mean, that would have been real dope. But Yeah, I really appreciate this album so much more now. Granted though, I still believe that Cormega's true debut was the realness that came out in 2001. I'm one of those people that believe everything happens for a reason. So I really do believe that the realness was his true debut. I honestly don't know if the Testament would have made much of an impact that the realness did. But I can say that with this remastered version, I do appreciate the Testament a lot better now. Because when I first bought that 2005 version, I mean, I thought it was a decent record, but I didn't really think much of it. I did not hold it in the same regard as what he did with the realness and the true meaning and the records that came after that. But with this remastered version, hearing these songs in better quality, uh, I definitely can appreciate what he did with this record. I still don't think that it would have been a massive classic, but I do appreciate these songs a lot more than I did. So definitely check out this reissue, because I know a lot of people kind of feel the same way I do, that the realness was really Cormega's true debut. I know a lot of y'all feel that way, but definitely go and check out this new remaster version of the Testament, because I think that it may make you reconsider, like the I'm trying to sorry, I lost my train of thought here. It might make you kind of reconsider how you may feel about the Testament, because I think with the better sound quality as well as with this new dope cover art, it kind of resonates a little bit more. That at least that's what it did for me, man. But I enjoyed this reissue. Glad that I was able to get a pre-order of it and cop it before it sold out. It might still be copies left, so definitely go check them out. If there isn't any physical copies, this is available on DSPs, so stream it wherever you stream your music at. But I really dug this reissue. Big shout out to Cormega, man. Cormega is one of the dopest artists to come out of Queensbridge. I think he's the greatest MC to come out of Queensbridge, honestly. I mean, his last album, The Realness 2, was a banger as well. But shout out to Cormega for continuing to put out quality, great tracks, man. Really enjoyed this release, man. And I hope you all will enjoy it too when you check it out. All right. So that's it for this CD update video. Hope you guys enjoyed this this CD update. If you did like this video, just do me a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up and give me a like. Also, share the video because it does help the channel. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I drop new content. I also want to give a huge shout out to everybody that's been watching the videos, who's been subscribing to the channel, everybody that's been showing their support. I really do appreciate it. And as always, hope everybody has a blessed day, a blessed week, and love, peace, and music. Peace out, y'all.